More protests against Elon Musk happening in D.C. as the left takes aim at his electric car company. The NYPD arresting dozens over the weekend after they took over and shut down a Tesla showroom here in New York, with the glass door of the facility appearing to be shattered. And that's on top of other violence erupting at other Tesla locations, with reports of Molotov cocktails, graffiti, and even gunfire breaking out on dealership lots. Musk responding to the violence while speaking to Larry Kudlow.
When people criticize, say, what Doge is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the Doge team on the Doge.gov website and on the Doge handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like this action has been taken, this action has been taken. So when we get criticism, we say, like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like which cost saving do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
So he's a lot calmer than these folks. Take a look at this media montage, we call it.
Listen, I think that there has been tension between Elon Musk and a lot of Donald Trump's allies for a long time now, and there's been growing confusion.
We have said as reporters for weeks and weeks that this relationship was going to come to a head. You have two alphas, two billionaires who see themselves as the center of attention.
Why don't you go back to your day job and work that out and leave those of us who do government to do government? Because you can't do both.
Greg Gutfeld.
Well, you know, so he was saying that after one of the rockets went down this weekend. Am I right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I am useless, you know, and because I can't fix anything, I can't help you with anything, I can just use my mouth. So I never forget that. Although man has been able to take all this raw material of Earth and create works of great power, it's only an insignificant few who do that. We're just along for the ride. You know, we think, oh, look what the great works that man has done. Man is about 1,000 people over. I've contributed nothing to progress, but at least I can recognize who does. You know, I don't cheer against progress. I support people who do. I mean, imagine laughing at Jonas Salk as he was trying to come up with the polio vaccine. These people save lives. I can't imagine these people being role models. You know, what is their message? If at first you don't succeed, just hang out with us, you know, because they don't have to do anything. I'm beginning to believe that progressives are regressive. And because they've been railing against technology, whether it's electric cars, whatever, I think they got to lose the progress on progressives and just call them sieves. Sieves. They're just sieves. Everything goes through them. They hold nothing. They're incapable of creating anything of value. From now on, they're sieves.
And they're organized, Jesse. To me, these look somewhat organized, and there's usually always something behind that.
Yeah, the billionaires that hate Musk are funding the Tesla terrorism. And I'm wondering, where's the media? This is not covered almost anywhere. They're firebombing Tesla stations. Why hasn't the FBI infiltrated Trantifa too? Because it's these trans Antifa people that are responsible. They seem to have been able to get underneath every single radical movement except Trantifa. I think Kash Patel needs to get on that. And I'm mad at Greg.
Why?
Greg, you can't come out here and say our jobs are insignificant. So what? This guy's an intergalactic pioneer. We saved this country from Kamala Harris. This show, you, me, you kind of helped Harold in your own way, but let's not put ourselves down. My Democrat sources, Dana, are telling me that they think attacking Musk is the wrong strategy. To go after him and oppose a person instead of a policy is really dumb, because they tried that with Trump. Remember, they attacked Trump's personality, and then he won in a landslide because they could kind of put his personality aside because his policies were popular. Same with Musk. He might not have a great approval rating, but cutting government is like 80% popular in this country. And their line of attack is silly. The judge brought it up earlier. You can't call Trump a dictator and then also call Elon Musk the co-president. You can't say he hires all loyalists and then there's like massive disagreements in a cabinet meeting. So they haven't really figured out what they're going to do yet, but this is not it.
And the other problem, Judge, you brought up last week is that if you have protests like this and there's violence, and let's say there's arrests, you can't guarantee they're going to be prosecuted,
Right,
especially
right.
in those two cities.
Yeah, because of the progressive DAs. But you know what's interesting about all this? I mean, aside from the fact that you've got the left going after, the guy who created electric cars and for whom he was a hero, but, do you remember when President Trump had that press conference with Elon Musk? It was very clear as the left tried to create this narrative that, Elon Musk was a co-president, that, Elon Musk comes out and says, I do what the president tells me to do. I'm here at the behest of the president. And then all this stuff about, Elon Musk and the president then comes out and he says, I'm going to take a scalpel to Doge cuts. I'm not going to do it with the hatchet anymore. So you know that clearly there is a president who is overseeing all of this, where there's not really this craziness that the left is creating this antagonist that everybody is learning how to hate, and they're throwing fits. And they wanted us to be deprogrammed. I mean, they got to watch themselves. I mean, the two alphas, they're definitely fine together, and America benefits.
How does the Democratic Party navigate this?
You're not useless. Don't ever say that. The Democrats, the Democrats. First of all, everyone has a right to disagree with whomever they want to disagree with. I don't espouse or promote or condone violence in any way. But if people want to stop buying his car, they want to protest peacefully, have every right to do that. 3, the president. You're right. I'm glad you raised that, Judge. It was President Trump. As it relates to Doge. And I think that's where a lot of this motivation and a lot of people are being instigated by some of the things that Mr. Musk is doing as it relates to Doge. And President Trump said 2 things. 1, use a scalpel, not a hatchet. I think he's absolutely right. Because there's some things in government, I think we have this weird, unfortunate notion that when we think about government spending and we think about it being excessive, people think about the worst things they think about in government, wherever you may sit. Democrats sometimes say it's too much defense spending. Some people on the Republican side say it's too many public assistance programs, welfare, and so forth. But when you really dig down into it, a lot of government spending is government investment that employs people, empowers innovation in places, creates opportunity for communities across the country. What I think people want is to find those things that are redundant. I think one of the things, and you said it, I think you said it one time, Dana, on last week or so, people love for them to dig down and figure out where are the redundancies with these contracts. Are we paying 5 people to do what one person should be doing or we only thought was doing? That's where I think he can be most helpful. And when Mr. Musk says, well, hey, no one can cite a program, I guarantee you, go to South Carolina, go to Alabama, go to Texas, go to Oklahoma, go to Kansas, where these congressmen and congresspeople are facing backlash because Social Security offices are being closed, veterans hospitals are being impacted. These are things I don't think you want to cut. But guess what? Whatever you have done and whatever you're doing, that's the impact that it's having. Again, Democrats, I would be focused on these things. Let's stop the singing. And let's stop some of the other craziness and get out talking about ideas, facts, and answers to those challenges.
All right, up next, Democrats are struggling for an answer on trans athletes after Gavin Newsom broke with his party.